All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me know if you can hear me, Miss Debbie, if you're still here. If not, I'm going off what's on YouTube immediately. All right, now we are here tonight to talk about the weapons that might be involved in the Delphi case. Now, I'm not talking these are the actual ones that committed the murders, right? What I did was went around and I got what is very commonly in every household, just about in America. So I can show you folks the difference because there are many box cutter, razor knives, different things. So what I'm going to do is show you the ones I have that are similar to what these guys are describing in the autopsy report and the wounds that were made. Does everybody understand that? Let me take a break here. I'm having a sip of my tea. Miss Debbie, are you there? Can you hear? Hello. All right, let's carry on. All right, so what I'm going to show you is a box cutter. I'm going to show you a carpenter's razor knife, which is called and used as a box cutter. And then I'm going to show you a regular knife with a jagged edge on it. Now, repeat, these are not the actual crime weapons. These are what are being described as the instruments or weapons that were used in the murders. We got that straight. Can you comprehend that? Can I get a heck yes or a yes? Can I get a something? Yes, a tape. Tape. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to reveal what they are saying the weapons are or similar in the Delphi murders. Now we know this because of what they're testifying in court and what these people are reporting. Now, this may be gruesome to some of you, so warning. Okay, this is adult channel about adult crimes in our communities on YouTube, whatever it may be. So, do we have that clear? Okay. Now, I'm going to reveal to you a box cutter. Depending on where you are and what kind of training you have and what year it was, I'm going to show you a box cutter, the original box cutter. Then I'm going to show you a box cutter that is recent, meaning produced in the 1990s or 2000s. I'm going to show you that style of box cutter. Then I'm going to show you a knife that is a clean cut on one side plus a jagged edge. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not for any reason but to describe what kind of evidence we're looking at or weapons. Hello, Mr. Valdez, Mrs. Fox. Now, I should put these in line. This is the original box cutter. This is also called a carpenter's knife. It is a razor knife. Do you see this? Do you see the markings? Almost like a zipper. You push on this and it reveals a blade. This is the original box cutter, but it also, depending on where you live and what kind of work you do, this is a carpenter's razor knife used for carpentry, but was the original box cutter. Named, not in the crime or whatever. I mean, when it was produced, this is what they used to call a box cutter back in the day. Okay, we move on to our second device, weapon, whatever you want to call it. This is the new produced box cutter razor knife. You unfold like a knife and it produces a razor inside of it, much like the original, but the original you have to push it out. Zipper marks. New box knife, but it folds like a knife. Also, if you keep in mind, zipper marks. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a regular knife. Notice jagged edges, smooth blade, double-sided if you want. These are the instruments this sicko used, or at least what the court and the professionals are saying was used. Which one, we do not know. Each one tells a different story. The original box knife, everyone knows as the original box cutter. This is what they used. This is what I used when I was younger at a job. Go get the box cutter. Right? What was it? A razor knife, a regular handheld razor knife, which is a carpenter's pencil or a carpenter's knife or whatever. And then we go to the second box cutter that folds out like a knife, and it has a razor blade in it. And then we go to the third knife. Now, here's my question to the court and to everyone is how deep were the lacerations? That's a razor knife. It can only go in 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. That's the distance from here to here. But if this is now used as a weapon and with force put behind it, then this can penetrate deeper. It might be 2 inches. They're saying 2 inches, 3 inches, maybe. This is possible. It could if it was used as a weapon to puncture, then cut. Yes. Same with this box cutter. The distance between here and here, the sharp part, is about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch, if that. But used as a weapon to puncture, then that's where you would get your depth of the wound, which might produce on the outside of the wound these zipper marks, these jagged edges that are used to grip and push forward. Does anybody have any questions? The only other, well, I don't have one, but the only other knife I can think that would have a jagged edge on it would be a Rambo knife, a Bowie knife, which would have a straight edge, but also them jagged teeth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that would be raked across the skin, would leave marks, abrasions, not deep. Not deep, but enough to look like abrasions or cuts. Yeah, I think we're onto it. I think we're on exactly on the right track. Like I said, the only other weapon I can think of that would have something like this on it, be a straight blade cut, but also have a jagged edge, is a Rambo knife or Bowie knife. I've even seen some buck knives that have that jagged edge on there. And if from what it looks like to me, there's more than one stab mark. Maybe he had the knife flipped the wrong way. It slipped out of his hand. Maybe his hand was in blood. Maybe not. Maybe it slipped out of his hand. He had the knife the wrong way. And he I don't know. It's possible to leave marks that they're describing from a blade like that. And this is a common blade, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very common blade, household blade. You can get this at any gas station in the United States. Very common blade if you're a man, for just using around the house, fishing, cutting rope. Electricians use it. Carpenters use it. I mean, if you're a man, you have something like this laying around. So there we go. Any questions? Probably not. I know this is shocking, but I want the people to see what they're describing. Either we're dealing with a real knife or we're dealing with these two individuals here. Either it was a razor knife, old time, or it was a newer generation fold up razor knife. You see, being that we are not in the courtroom and not able to see the photos that they are seeing, we don't know if this pattern these patterns on here that are real rough and jagged are actually on the bodies, or if it is more of a jagged edge of something of that sort on the bodies. Why? Because we're not seeing the photos, the wounds. These people are describing it at the best of their knowledge, and we thank them. But describing it, you got to describe it pretty good or know what you're describing. A photo of seeing the wound, you can get a better picture of that. But we're doing the best we can. This is what I came up with. Common household items that probably everybody has in their home or has worked with once in their life if they live in America. If you folks have any opinions or any questions, ask. Just like if I don't know something, I ask. So This is the tools that these idiots, maybe one guy, maybe many, used. And this might not even be the right kind of weapon. For all we know, it was a Rambo knife or a giant buck knife. We don't know. We weren't there. And we're only going off of what they're giving us. Does that make sense to anybody? I hope I haven't broken any laws by showing these instruments, but I feel that our citizens and the YouTube community should know what we're dealing with. Does that make sense? I'm doing my best. I have a disability and I don't know all this computer stuff, how to do all that crap. I'm doing my best. So if this helps at all, if this helps anybody uh, see or have a feeling of what they're describing, this is it. And I do believe there's a couple more versions of box cutters, depending on what job you work or what preference you have. There's numerous. That's what we're dealing with. And I hope this is not too shocking for the people. But now when people say, well, box cutter, what kind? Well, here you go. These are the kinds that usually are common. They're very easy to hide. They'll slide right in your pocket. Even the knife, right, can go right in the pocket, very concealed. I mean, I don't know. Excuse me. Yes, Debbie, if you work on a farm or you do planting or gardening, you'll have one of these box cutters. You might even have one of these knives to do your chores around the house or whatever. Very common within our households. Very common within our households. So there you go, folks. Are there any questions? Yes, I'm allowed to. People are allowed to own a knife and a box cutter and a razor knife. Very common. And there's no warrants out for me, or I'm not wanted for any massive stuff. So people like this is people that can't understand. They can't fathom it. Oh my God! I'm going to end this video before it gets out of hand with these trolls. You ladies and gentlemen have a great night. I hope this helps the community, the crime community, so they can get a picture of what these people were using. Now, once again, these are not the weapons that were used in the murders. These are my common household things that these people would use that are being described. They said a razor knife, a box cutter. A, this is a razor knife, which used to be back in the old days a box cutter. A lot of old timers or people in their 50s, whatever, 40s or whatever, would know this as the original box cutter. If you've grown up in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, you know this to be a box cutter. If you're real old, before I was born, this was a box cutter. It's a knife. It's a box cutter. There you folks go. I hope you got some kind of knowledge out of this. I hope you all can see the difference and the patterns on them. Now remember, even though this is a very small blade, it's a razor knife. Look at it, it's got dirt and tar, all kinds of tar on it and everything, from using it on cutting shingles and everything. But if you use this with force, meaning plunging, and you use force with it, then this will go deeper than 1 inch. Anything that has a point, even if it's a half an inch, if it has a point on it and you use pressure, it'll go deeper, meaning you're moving the flesh. Your hand might bottom out on the flesh, but it's pushing through it, causing the wound to be deeper. Now, you ladies and gentlemen have a great night. I'm being attacked by something tonight. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the air. Maybe it's smoke from the fires out west or Canada or whatever. But I hope this helped you folks out. I hope you get a picture now what an old time box cutter is and what a new time box cutter is. I hope this helped you folks out. Have a great night. God bless. And hopefully the truth comes out in the case of Selden. If there was one involved, then get them. If there was many involved, but they didn't do the murders, they're still guilty, get them. Looks like there is sticky stuff on your razor knife. Which one? This one or this one? I think that's tar. I was over at my shed. I had a couple shingles that were falling off from my shed that dry rotted. So I used this and cut them off, cut the shingle. This is good for cutting shingles and stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you folks have a great night. God bless. I hope this helped all you folks out there. And notice, all easy to conceal in your pocket. You folks have a great night. Be safe. God bless.